Hi there, Ron Sabatka here, Technical Marketing Manager for Corteva AgriScience Seed Applied Technologies team. Today I want to talk to you about a few helpful tips as you prepare for a successful planting season and how you can attain accurate seed singulation to maximize genetic performance. I'm going to talk through a few different techniques and procedures that will help ensure optimized seed flow and singulation. This process really starts by selecting the highest performing genetics, traits, and lumigen seed treatments specific to each farm. Next is utilizing a few simple techniques that will improve seed singulation. Be rest assured that any of our seed sizes, seed shapes, and seed treatment combinations can be accurately placed with these planting practices. Although seed condensation is uncommon, I will also spend a little time talking about this phenomenon as it can cause plantability concerns that we don't want, such as seed bridging, poor seed flow, and poor singulation. Not to worry though, I will simplify the science behind seed condensation and offer a few techniques. So let's get started. There are three main interdependent factors: the environment, planter aids, and planter maintenance and planter settings that need to be considered. Let's tackle the environment first. Our seed production teams make sure that seed is properly dried by the time it enters the box. Yet we know moisture can collect on the seed inside the boxes and center fill hoppers. This is called seed condensation. When cold seed is exposed to higher temperatures and humidity, water can collect on the surface of the seed. This kind of science is exactly the same as when water collects on the windows of your home occasionally. Let's put this into perspective though. Does water collect on your house window every morning? No, it really is an occasional thing. Same thing with seed condensation. Predicting when this risk occurs is pretty simple, and the solutions are available. This is a great chart that helps explain the science behind seed condensation. But don't worry about memorizing this stuff. I'll give you a simple trick. Seed stored in non-heated building is likely less than 50 degrees early spring. Let's look at the bar on the left. If the outside temperature is 60 degrees, we should be in pretty good shape with little to no seed condensation. Now, if we have cold seed and our air temperature hits 70 or 80 degrees, we have a pretty good chance of seed condensation taking place. The trick to remember is anytime we have hit temperature spikes above 70 degrees, we need to be thinking about potential risk of seed condensation. Under normal circumstances, when planting in April, temperatures are usually in the 60 to 70 degree range. So we typically don't have any issues with seed condensation under these circumstances. However, we do have some years like 2019 where we had several temperature spikes in the 80s in April. But not to worry, there are a couple of simple solutions coming up. That gets us to the next interdependent factor: planter aids. There are several different types of planter aids, and each specific planter manufacturer has specific recommendations regarding which type they prefer for their planters, so follow their guidelines. There are a few key differences between the planter aids that I will explain. Talc is a naturally occurring mineral that acts as a drying agent and a lubricant and reduces static electricity. The key to remember here is that talc is a very good drying agent. Next up is graphite, which consists of crystalline carbon flakes that easily slide on each other, which forms a dry lubricant that helps reduce wear on the equipment, improves seed flow, and reduces static electricity. However, graphite is not a good drying agent. Talc graphite blends are very common too. The last is fluency agent, which consists of polyethylene wax-based lubricants. Like graphite, fluency agents are good lubricants, reducing wear and tear on equipment, but are not good drying agents. So if seed condensation is likely, talc is the only choice to absorb the water collecting on the seed. Okay, let's dive into a little more detail on resolving this situation. If seed cannot be warmed using heated storage, talc is the solution. As the temperature and humidity rise, add more talc to absorb the water. Okay, now if you do have heated storage, you can really help reduce seed condensation risk by raising the seed temperature by about 10 degrees or so. Here's a great example. Let's compare these two graphs. The graph on the left represents cold seed coming out of non-heated storage. The graph on the right represents seed that has been warmed to 60 degrees. Notice that green area is much larger on the right than on the left. It simply shows that by raising the temperature just a little bit can really reduce the risk of condensation. One other thing to keep in mind is that seed in boxes resists temperature change. We need to keep in mind that raising the seed temperature will take time. And trying to raise the temperature too quickly can cause seed condensation in the box. So it's important to raise this temperature incrementally over a long period of time. Our recommendation is to start this process 2 weeks before planting begins. All right, the final recommendation regarding planter aid is the importance of mixing the material well in the center fill hoppers. Bottom line here is that adequately mixing the recommended planting aid will allow for excellent planting success with all of our seed sizes, shapes, and seed treatments. We did some research in an environmental chamber to show this. Poorly mixed seed only had a 12% improvement, whereas the well-mixed planter aid, we improved seed flow by 156%. And here is a great demonstration from that trial too. The first treatment is no planter aid. And as you can see, it takes several shakes to get the seed out of the tube. The second treatment is poorly mixed planter aid. And although better than with no planter aid, it is still poor seed flow. Now the third treatment, which is well-mixed planter aid, the seed flows right out of the tube without any extra effort. Let's walk through a good mixing process. We start by adding 1/4 to 1/2 cup of planter aid to the bottom, and if it's the first field, I would add a little more to lubricate the seed tubes as well. As the seed is being transferred to the center fill tank, the best method for thorough mixing is to dribble the planter aid as the seed is being transferred. Mechanical applicators are available for this process, but if you don't have a mechanical applicator, by hand will work too. It's really important to wear a mask as we don't want to breathe any of this material into our lungs. And finally, use a plastic scoop once you have finished adding the seed. We used this scoop from John Deere that worked really well. When we did our field trial with this 36-row John Deere planter, we compared well mixed on the left to poorly mixed on the right. And as you can see, there is a big difference in color between the two. By the way, we compared 41-pound seed, 63-pound seed, mid-rate and high-rate treatments, and what we learned was we could plant any combination at 10 miles an hour with seeding rate of 70,000 per acre and get 98 to 99% singulation accuracy as long as we use the right amount of planter aid and mixed it well. The final interdependent factor is planter settings. Each manufacturer has a periodic maintenance recommendation that should be followed. Corteva Agriscience develops a new plantability guide each year specific to the seed produced and seed treatment combination. To maximize planter performance and seed drop accuracy, a digital code can be scanned which provides customized planter settings based on seed size, batch number, and planter type. Bottom line, a little preparation and understanding the importance of 3 interdependent factors will help make your planting season be successful. Remember, the process starts by selecting the highest performing genetics, traits, and Lumigen seed treatments specific to each farm. Rest assured that any of our seed sizes, seed shapes, and seed treatment combinations can be accurately placed using planting practices I talked about. And finally, seed condensation is not common, but remembering when temperature spikes above 70 degrees are expected, be ready to add a little more talc to absorb that moisture, and don't be shy about mixing that planter aid. Thanks for listening in, and we truly wish you a successful planting season. For more information, contact your local sales representative.